Market action, how will these overnight cues impact our own markets? We have a research team as always to prep us up for just that. The market setup, the stocks that are likely to be in the news and the action from the FNO space as well. Hey guys, a very good morning to all of you. Vivek, looks like a good start for our own markets today.
Well, absolutely. Good morning. It's a sea of green and, markets will hope that this particular trend continues. Indian markets are trading near the lifetime high. Just to reiterate what you had mentioned a little earlier, most of the US markets ended strongly in the green, second consecutive month where you actually saw strong end as far as November was concerned as well. European markets too ended higher, clearly indicating the risk-on rally. When you're talking about gold prices too jumped up over 1% in yesterday's trading session. And when you're talking about Brent as well as crude oil futures, that also gained quite significantly in yesterday's trade. Brent futures in yesterday's trading session was up almost 2.8%, while crude futures, WTI crude futures, were up 3% in yesterday's trading session. Now, coming closer to the Indian markets, remember, in yesterday's trading session, markets continued to trade at the fresh lifetime high, and this particular rally was accelerated at the last half hour of the trading session due to the MSE rebalancing inflows that India actually enjoyed. On top of that, some slight caution in terms of the data that came in yesterday in terms of the Q2 GDP as well as manufacturing. Manufacturing and core sector data actually indicated a moderate slowdown. However, the services growth remained healthy. Asian markets continue to trade quite higher on the back of the strong global handover, and SGX Nifty 2 is indicating a gap of start. So clearly, we continue to trade at lifetime highs.
We do actually, yes, very close to that 19,000 mark. Vivek, thank you so much for all those cues. Over to Surbhi now. A lot of stocks in focus today. Surbhi, take it away.
Hi, thanks for that. I have a few stocks on my radar today. The first one is Shilpa Medicare, where its Telangana unit facility gets Health Canada GMP approval. GMP is good manufacturing practices. Now, this approval will allow the company for commercial distribution of production in Canada and will also enable to file new application submissions to Health Canada. Next is Tamil Nadu Mercantile Bank, where the bank has been authorized by RBI for undertaking government business on behalf of RBI. Next is Apollo Hospitals, where the board has approved the issue of 1,050 NCDs aggregating to rupees 105 crores. KPI Green Energy, where the board has approved 1:1 bonus issue. And lastly, Sanghi Industries, the board is expected to meet on 3rd December to evaluate a proposal of a fundraise.
All right, so all these stocks in news today. Let me go across to Manglam finally, joining in with the cues from the FNO space. Hey, Manglam.
Good morning. So there were fireworks in yesterday's trading session across Wall Street, but a large part of it also, something that we preempted, because if you just take a look at the way the Nifty moved, in the last hour, after being a drab for most of the day, in the last hour, it perked up and ended at the high point of trade. Yet another record high for that index, and as you can see, it was also short covering that led to the further expansion that we saw on the upside for our markets. In terms of cash markets, the FIIs went ahead and bought 9,000 crores, one of the largest numbers that we've seen in recent times, and that's primarily on account of the MSCI index rebalancing as well, and that was something that we saw in the way gross volumes for the FIIs perked up. But that's not all. In index futures, the FIIs covered a fair amount of shorts, and they also did that in index calls. So just take a look at the way the index futures moved. We had around 4,500 short contracts being covered, 7,000 long contracts being added, and as a result of which FIIs who were already net long have only inched their longs higher to around 75%. But the biggest positive came in on the index options front, and this is important because today is weekly options expiry. 81,000 short contracts on the call side were actually unwound. People were feeling the heat out there, and at the same time we saw 118,000 puts being written. So that's telling you there is a strong amount of support at lower levels as well. What were the calls that unwound and saw a lot of short covering? 18,600 call as well as 18,700 call. These two strikes were extremely active on the short side. Once the market moved higher, these writers actually began to feel the heat. 18,700 put saw a fair amount of writing, so that's telling you 18,600 to 650 will be an important support. And we also saw some writing at 18,800 put. So important to see if the SGX Nifty led gap up sustains or not, because it is weekly options expiry today. Ahead of that, we also saw FIIs buy some puts, perhaps only on account of some security. The only thing to watch out for as the market expands is the put-call ratio, which is now moved to 1.55. Usually it indicates overheat zones, but need not necessarily be bad so long as the market continues to move higher. Just a data point to keep on your radar.
We will. Mangalam, Surbhi and Vivek, thank you so much for joining us, taking us through what to expect